Alright, so this episode is coming out a bit later than usual, mostly because working 12-hour days is absolutely, like, deadly. I Anybody that works 12-hour days, honestly, I have so much respect for you, because I just did, like, 5 12 hours in a row for production, and it just, oh, I want to die. I could probably do it again, but oh boy. Not the point, though. This episode is the TCG rules. Finally. This episode is going to be long. Oh boy. So, there's no general rules to start with, so I can just go straight into the rules, which is pretty good for me. Just a quick note, this episode really isn't scripted. I have the rules in front of me right now, so, you know, I'm gonna be learning while you guys are learning, because I really don't know that much about TCG. The first thing that they show are generally about cards, which is that you have to use cards that are only legal for the tournament format. There is an image that shows all the current allowed formats of cards, and then also when a new format is released, I think it's the third Sunday it's released in the US, it becomes usable, I think. I don't know. There is a whole bunch about cards, specifically about how the definition of a card, like what it does, is defined by its English translation. Interpretations of what the card means is mostly up to the head judge. Reprinted cards is a bit iffy. You have to get a little, like, there is a list of cards that are legal for play in standard format, but you have to find that list on the rules and resources page. Apparently, I'm just reading this off, and this is technically the 2016 rules, but I don't see these changing anytime soon. Just a quick thingy. Obviously, don't use fake cards. Like, just do not do it. Don't use fake cards. Don't be a dummy. Proxies are a thing. Player-made proxies are considered to be fake cards and should be treated as such in all ways. Oh, okay. So a proxy is anything that is to do with, like, the damage or a mismatch of something so that you know what card it is. Yeah, okay. I understand that. Don't use foreign cards. If you're playing in a certain regionals, don't use foreign cards. Just don't do it. Just use the local ones that you have. So, like, if you're stuck in England, if you're stuck in England, let's say, use English cards. If it counts as a European tournament, then you can use any of the European languages. Here it says English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. You know, stuff like that. Like, just keep to your language, essentially. Some cards will apparently appear with not tournament legal on the card, and thus you should not use them. Card sleeves should all be the same color, condition, size, and texture, so that they know you're not cheating. That's pretty much it for that, because it's just explaining how that works. Cards in play, hand elevation. To avoid the perception of impropriety, players should keep both hands above the level of the playing surface at all times. A player's card should never go below the level of the playing surface during a match, so that way everyone knows, like, that everything's going well. There is also, if I can find it, I'm trying to find it. There's stuff about, like, what you can do to, like, randomize stuff. And obviously randomizing stuff is just randomized. You can't really... There are apparently stuff about this, but I don't really know if it's necessary, because, I mean, it's random. So if you know how I almost said RNG, but that's, like, specifically for games. But, like, if you just know how luck works, then you're cool with that. There's obviously going to be deck checks for legibility, sleeves, and total number of cards, because there should always be 60 cards in a deck. Here it is, shuffling. Alright, so instead of trying to describe how to shuffle, let me just show you how to do it instead. So this is a deck of 60 cards that I have here. I have already technically done this but I did it without the head view, so I don't know. I think that this is probably better. You know, you can shuffle the deck how you want. They personally describe that you should, like, cut your deck like so. You don't have to do it like that. You can also, like, you know, shuffle like it's an actual deck of cards, like this. Like, you know, how people at, I don't know, casinos would shuffle a deck, I guess. Once you're done shuffling your deck, though, you would pass it on to your opponent, who would then also cut your deck like so, mostly. Or they would, you know, mix it up a bit. They're supposed to technically take the top half and put it under the bottom half, so that, if you did know what you were doing, now everything's a little bit iffy. They can also completely shuffle your deck instead of cutting it. Like, they can do the card trick as well if they wanted to. Otherwise, that's pretty much how you shuffle a deck. So, you know, huzzah! Time limits. I'm actually surprised that this has time limits, because from what I've seen, these games can go on for hours. Let's see. Prior to each game, players have 2 minutes to shuffle their decks and present them to their opponents for further shuffling or cutting. This 2-minute limit includes resolving mulligans, which I think means resolving any issues that may be occurring. The round should not begin until this 2-minute period has expired. Mid-game time limit. Any mid-game effects, such as deck search effects and shuffling, are to take place within a reasonable amount of time. You know, it's just stuff. Okay, here we go. Single game matches should be a minimum of 30 minutes plus 3 turns for constructed tournaments, or 20 minutes plus 3 turns for limited tournaments. A minimum. How do TCG players work? Like, oh my god. I'm actually impressed that if you have to have at least 30 minutes, I'm actually so impressed by you guys. Like, yo, I don't know how you do it. I actually have no idea how you do it. There are also different formats, apparently. There's a standard format and a extended format, I think, if I can go down. Let me try and find it. There's a whole bunch of different things in standard. Yeah, the standard format, and there's expanded format, which is, I think, hold on. Doesn't say anything about it. I think it might just be the previous format is added to the thing as well. I'm not sure though. Who knows? There's also an unlimited format, which means that they can contain cards from any and all trading card game expansions and promotional cards that have been released in the US. I expected this to be at least 15 minutes, and it's kind of 8 minutes now, so could have been less. Could have been much less. Hello, phone. I'm gonna ignore that. So yeah, I guess that's the end of this episode then. Thank you very much. The next 2 weeks before VGC come out will be, before the VGC international tournaments, before the international tournaments in general begin. The first 2 weeks will be, the next 2 weeks, sorry, bleh, words are hard, are going to be team building within VGC, and then, I guess, deck building within TCG, and then the episode that I want to bring out just before the international tournaments is, I guess, team preview and cheating. Oh boy, why do I do this to myself? Thank you so very much for watching. I will see you next week, where my episode will actually come out on time and not like a day later. I'm so sorry, I really am. Just time frames are weird.